Welcome to another episode of Dealership Digest. I'm your host, Chris Paulino, with my co host,
TLN Teeny.
the one and only Tia Lentini. And today we're talking about sales optimization for your dealership.
Yes, we are, because we know that the most important thing is sales.
Yeah. If your dealership's not selling units, if you're not selling RVs, motorhomes, fifth wheels, if you're not selling cars, trucks, SUVs, motorcycles, whatever your dealership's selling, then we're not keeping the bills paid. We're not paying the sales team. We're not paying our executives. So when the rubber meets the road, it's about closing the sale, right?
Exactly. And especially when you have a big team, you want to make sure that everybody's getting compensated equally, and everybody's happy, because I know, at least my experience, when you don't have the right team or the right compensation packages in play, everybody's unhappy. So,
Yeah. Yeah, you lose a lot of good salespeople at dealerships because maybe we cut back the commission, maybe we get rid of the spiff or something that every salesperson's used to. And at the end of the day, salespeople are salespeople because they want to be able to control their salary, their paycheck a little bit. They want to have some say in, hey, if I put in more work, if I make more dials, if I close more deals, I want to make more money.
exactly. And having the right team in place is going to get you to the point where, you're going to be able to do that for your dealership.
Yeah. Yeah, the right team's so important because, I mean, if you have the marketing going, if you have the marketing budget going, if you have maybe mailers, television commercials, radio ads, if you're still doing things like that, when you got all the marketing going, you're paying the employees, you're paying the marketing team, you're paying the insurances, you're paying all of these things, and then you can't close the deal, that's tough.
Yeah, it's super tough. And then you're going to have to start making cuts in places you don't want to make cuts. And, that's when your dealership gets in trouble.
Yeah, yeah, because making cuts is truly never, in my opinion, the right answer, right? Because if we're not selling as a dealership, a lot of the time it's on the sales team, right? I mean, it only makes sense.
Exactly.
But sometimes you'll see dealerships, they get in trouble, they cut their marketing budget. They cut the radio ads, they cut away the TV ads, they cut away the customer leads, they cut away the attention. And then what happens is a bad sales team just has more people to talk to, and now you sell even less deals,
Yeah, they don't know what they're doing.
right? Yeah. So you need the right team. You got to have the right sales manager. You got to have the right marketing team. You got to have everybody in the dealership working cohesively and kind of as an ecosystem so that when the marketing comes together and produces that customer lead, so that we get a sale, so we get something over the curb.
Exactly. And I know, just from being in the BDC department for a long time, that you have to make sure that the BDC department knows exactly what to do, so they can work in sync with the sales staff. You don't want those two to be enemies. You want them to get along, and you want them to kind of work together as a team. So making sure that your BDC sales team is trained is exactly where you need to be.
Yeah. Because nothing worse than having your sales, your marketing team fighting each other, your BDC team fighting each other. Because, essentially what we're a basketball team here, right?
Yeah, exactly.
The marketing team throws the ball in, you know what I mean? Then they alley oop the sales team, and the sales team should just throw that baby home.
Exactly, exactly. And then you got your BDC department assisting.
We're throwing bad alley oops, we're throwing bad passes, we're putting up bad shots. It's not going to help the team.
No, no, not at all. Not in the
Right?
long run.
So if we want to be a
For sure.
championship style dealership, we got to make sure our team's right. We got to make sure our processes are right. And we just got to make sure that we're paying attention to it. I've seen RV dealerships that have had, what I would consider subpar salespeople. And let me clarify: the subpar salesperson isn't someone that doesn't close deals. It's someone that's not coachable.
Yeah, I agree.
Someone that's not trainable.
Or not motivated. They're sitting there playing games on their phone at their desk. They're not calling people. They're not expanding their brand. They're just wasting time,
Yeah.
essentially.
Maybe you're giving them a comfortable salary and they don't need to work hard, right? Because they wanted to make 30,000, 40,000 a year. You give them that base plus commission, and well, hey, why do I need to sell cars? Because I'm getting what I want by not doing anything.
Exactly.
And if you're that dealership that keeps that salesman around and sucking up the leads, sucking up the salary cap, sucking up the cash flow, and you don't get rid of them, that's not having the right team.
Yeah, you're hurting your the other members of your team,
Yeah.
you know?
You want someone that's, when you pass them the alley oop, that they're going to slam that baby home. You don't want them to brick it off the back of the rim.
Exactly. And just choosing somebody that's going to fit well with the team is huge. So you don't want somebody that's going to be lazy and not wanting to role play, not wanting to practice, anything like that. Those people are just going to drag your other salespeople down, and, it's just not going to be good.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a great point. You talk about role plays, you talk about things like that. I mean, that's one of the crucial training techniques that salespeople and dealerships should be using more. There's not many dealerships you go into that are using role plays, that are taking all of the sales teams and putting them in a room and saying, hey, give me an example of how you dealt with a deal, role play this deal with this salesman, this customer, this example, this kind of scenario. You don't see them doing that much.
No, not at all. They um, don't really dial in their sales process, and it shows. It shows
Yeah.
in the numbers, it shows in the customer experience, the reviews, all that.
Yeah. Yeah, because that's the thing, right? Sales process, super important.
hmm
We're a dealership. We have salespeople there, and we're giving them leads. You got to understand, we're paying money for these leads, right? We got our marketing budget going. We got TV ads, we got Facebook ads, we got internet ads, we got whatever we have going. That costs money.
Exactly. And that money just doesn't come out of thin air.
Right.
So you want to be able to close the leads that all this stuff is bringing in, because A, that helps the marketing team, B, it helps the sales staff, it just helps everybody.
Yeah. Unless you're the dealership that found a way to print money, then we got to actually close the deal. And the sales process is a huge deal. And that's why, things like role playing is a big deal, because that's when you're going to practice that sales process. That's when you're going to get in front of peers, other salespeople, your sales manager, your GM, your owner, whoever's there, to say, hey, this is our sales process, at your dealership. This is how we're doing it. How can we do it better so we can close more deals? Salespeople, when they close more deals, they make more money. They're happy. When we close more deals, sales managers are happy, GMs, owners, everyone's happy, right? But at a lot of dealerships, we see salespeople sitting in their office. What are they doing in there?
They're playing Candy Crush. Not all the time. But.
Candy Crush, Farmland. I know that was a thing of the Facebook time maybe 5 years ago.
Farmville, but
Farmville,
yeah.
that's what it was. Farmville, right. So, just even scrolling your timeline, right? Searching Google for the newest, cutest blanket, you know what I mean? And those comfy little slippers you want to get for when you get off work and you kick them feet off, or you kick them shoes off, right?
Exactly. And that's not the mindset that you want in your dealership. That's not where you need to be with your
Yeah.
sales process and anything like that.
Right. So you got to make sure you have a sales process, whether it be the Sell More, Live More sales process that we train here at IMR, or whether it be your own dealership sales process that you train at your locations, or if you even have another sales process or trainer that you have training your sales teams, there needs to be a sales process for your RV salespeople, for your car salespeople, for your motorcycle, your boat. If you're at a dealership, or, we can even extend this to any business. If you're selling a product at a dealership, there needs to be a sales process.
Exactly. If not, it's just going to be disorganized. There's going to be no harmony throughout the dealership, and
Yeah.
and it operates like an ecosystem, as we said before. So if one thing is, in disharmony, it's going to make up or mess up the whole entire thing.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think one of the big things that really sticks out to me in sales is when I was doing the best in dealership sales, it was because I had my sales process dialed in. I was using the Sell More, Live More sales process, and I could get deals done quicker than any salesman out there. And what that means, we all know we have so much time in a day. We can't, we can't get time back. Can't
Exactly.
create time, right? So if it takes me 8 hours to do a deal, then I can only do one deal in an 8-hour day. If the other salesman down the cubicle can do a deal in an hour, then he can do 8 times more deals than I can, because my sales process takes 8 hours long, where his or hers takes 1 hour long.
Exactly. So it's important to have things streamlined. Same with the internet department. You want to be organized. You want to have, your things in order with your CRM, and you want to have, just a sales process, because if not, you're going to be spending all your time just sending emails that don't matter, making phone calls that don't matter, and just being totally disorganized. So when the person, if you get anybody in, when they come in, the salesperson doesn't know what's going on, you're confused, it's a mess.
Right. They go up to the desk with no trade numbers. Sales manager, hey, what kind of trade? Oh, I don't know. I forgot to ask. Let me run back and ask them. They
Yeah,
come
okay.
back. They ask, oh, here's your trade number. Oh, okay. Oh, they need 500 off. Can they buy it at 500 off? Sales manager gives them 500 off. They go back to the office. What happens? Oh, now they need another 500 off.
Yeah, it's just terrible. There's no confidence in it. There's no process. There's just nothing stable. Stability. There's
Yeah.
no stability in the process. It's
Confidence
just
is a good word
flighty.
there for sure. You got to have confidence in your sales process. Confidence that you know how to ask the right questions, that you can pull the emotion from your customer so that you can truly learn their needs, their wants, so that you can get past surface level, and so that you can show them the right products the first time so that you can close deals quicker. Because the way that we increase cash flow at a dealership and as salespeople is we get better at our sales process. So we go from an 8-hour sales process to a 4-hour sales process to a 2-hour sales process to a 1 hour. And then we increase our leads and we get in front of more customers and we increase the amount of activity we have,
Yeah.
right? Because if we increase our activity and we increase our sales process and our closing ratios increase from 10% to 20, 30, 50%, then we're getting a lean sales process. Our sales optimization is good. There's strategy behind it. There's thought behind it. There's time considered into the strategy.
Exactly. And then you can start doing the little extra things for your customers that set you apart from other salespeople, which is
Right.
exactly where you want to be. You want to be always branding yourself. Always be branding.
Yeah. So, if you're not training as a sales team, as a dealership, if you're a sales manager and you're not training your sales teams, which to be honest, a lot of dealerships out there don't train their sales teams as well as they probably should.
No, you get thrown in the fire, pretty
You get
much.
you get tossed in the foxhole taking grenades,
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
And that's what happens. It's sink or swim. It's get out the foxhole before you blow up, and you better have some deals when you get out that foxhole, right?
Yeah, exactly. And you can lose a lot of valuable people that way. If they're not trained right, then their numbers aren't going to be good. And in most dealerships, if your numbers aren't good, you're probably not going to be around for a while.
Yeah,
However, if you would have taken that time in the beginning to train that person, they could be your top salesperson. But
yeah,
because you didn't, you have to deal with the aftermath.
yeah. Michael Jordan got cut from his high school basketball team. I know that.
Wow, I didn't know
Give
that.
that man some training. You get him on the court, you get him some activity, you get him hungry, you ready to go, and he's the GOAT,
You got Michael Jordan.
right? Michael Jordan was trained by a guy named Tim Grover, right? So, I mean, if you want to be a top producing athlete, top producing salesperson, top producing dealership, you have to be training on all fronts.
Yeah, I mean, think about it. Teachers have to do accreditation hours, credit hours, all that good stuff,
Oh,
and
yeah.
even cosmetologists. So why
Yeah,
shouldn't you?
right. And we'll take it a step further. Look at like Tom Brady. Look at professional football coaches, football teams. You have a head coach, you got an offensive coordinator, you got a running back coach, a quarterback coach, a receiver coach, a defensive coach, a safety. How many coaches do we got to coach these guys? Look, they're the best in the world. Why do we got to coach them if they're the best in the world? They don't got to train. They don't got to show up for practice, right? Iverson said that. He never won a ring. So if we're sales teams and we have this mentality that we don't have to train, then we're not going to close the deal, right?
No, you're going to stay the same.
And if you're a sales manager, if you're a GM that has a sales manager, or maybe you're a GM that's not training your sales team, I don't want to tell you what to do, but you might want to double think that. You might want to get the sales manager out there doing some role plays, right? Doing something. Buy the Sell More, Live More sales training program from IMR.training. Get that thing implemented across the dealership and start training those salespeople, because that's what's going to help you guys close more deals, right? Because the marketing team, that's great. The TV ads, the internet ads, Facebook, social media, everything we can do to get leads, to get attention from our marketplace, that's great. And I can't argue that attention, getting in front of your market is a big step to selling deals. But once we get that attention, Once we create that internet lead, if we don't close it, then we're just falling off at the end of our process, and man, that's going to be that's going to be terrible for your dealership years to come.
Yeah, you're just wasting time and money and you're not growing. And the point with everything, every business, you want to grow. You want
Yeah.
to make revenue and you want to get your brand out there. And without the proper training, you're just not going to do it.
Yeah. Yeah, if you're not growing as a dealership, as a sales manager, GM, as a salesperson at your dealership, you got to take a step back and say, what are my goals? Right? What revenue do I want to hit? What vacation do I want to take my family on next year? What vehicle do I want to be driving in? What kind of house do I want to live in? Right? Ask ourselves that and sit back and say, am I training? Am I doing the activity I need to do to be able to reach these levels that I want to reach? I guess if your goals are a little Tykes trike that you can drive to work and pedal your way all the way there, then you might not have to sell that many units. But if you want to be rolling in a Benz, a Beamer, a Lambo, a Bentley, you got to be putting in the activity and the work.
Yeah, and not just that, just to have that financial freedom of not worrying like, oh man, how am I going to pay the rent this month? Like, everybody wants that. I don't know one
Yeah.
person that wouldn't want that. And I
Right.
think a lot of it's the mindset too. You want to present it as something that even sales managers and GMs still need. You want to say that you are being trained, you're educating yourself, and you're growing too. So then your sales staff wants to follow in your footsteps. It's
Yeah.
kind of like the trickle effect.
Yeah, absolutely. So that's why it's such a big deal. The right team, having a sales manager, a GM that, is about training, about role plays, about, addressing the sales process and saying, how can we get better at closing these deals? How can we take these alley-oops from the marketing department and the internet leads and the Facebook ads and everything that we're getting and the walk-ins, the phone calls? How can we take all of these alley-oops that we're getting and how can we slam these babies home? Right?
Exactly.
Because that's what's going to pay the bills. Again, if we want to be a dealership that maybe moves to one location to 5 to 10, if we want to go from 10 employees to 40 to 100, or maybe we don't. Maybe we're just a modest dealership that's okay where we're at, and our goals are to just, grow yearly and not get too big and not get too many locations. That's okay, right? We don't all have to have a Bentley, but we still need to have the right team.
Exactly.
We still need the right sales process.
And the right attitude.
We still need the right attitude, the right mindset. We still need to be training, right? Because if we're not training across the board, our sales managers, GMs, salespeople, then we're never going to close deals. And marketing teams, no matter how many leads they get you, and dealerships and things like that, you need a sales process that's going to win. You need a sales process that's going to allow you to sell more so you can live more. IMR.training. Maybe that might be one of the last plugs there for that. But, again, if you're you need to optimize your sales at your dealership. I can't speak about it enough.
Exactly. And once you do it, you're just going to gain more confidence and it's going to be better all around. It's just taking the first step to do so. That's the hard part.
Yeah. So take the step. Start optimizing your sales team. Get your team right. Get your sales process right. Start training. Start doing those role plays. Go to Sell More, Live More, IMR.training. Get that training. Implement these things so that your sales team can be selling more units, so that your dealership can thrive in the years to come.
Long-term thinking, people.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Got to be thinking long-term. So, again, this is Dealership Digest. That's what we're talking about. We're talking about how to sell more RVs, cars, boats, motorcycles, kangaroos. If you got a kangaroo dealership, whatever kind of dealership you have, we're talking about how to sell more in the digital age. I'm Chris Paulino with Tia Lentini, and we're going to be out for the night.
See you later.
Thank you for watching Dealership Digest, presented by IMR.
To see more episodes, subscribe to our YouTube channel and like our Facebook page.
And if you need digital training for your dealership, visit us online at imr.training or infinitemediaresources.com.